Okay, Ashutosh. So, tell me, have you been through the sessions document today?
Yeah, exactly. I had gone through that.
Okay, and what is it all about?
It is all about rainy season.
Okay. So, do you like discussing about one, or would you like to discuss something else?
Yeah, whatever you want, you can talk about, and of course, I would love to give answers.
Okay, right. So, you just want to give answers and you want me to ask questions to you. Is that so?
Yes, you can ask related to topic, or you can ask anything, the genre, whatever it is.
Okay, right. So, let's go on with the topic then. What about the rainy season, Ashutosh? Do you like rainy season?
Yes, I like being a child. In my childhood, I used to like a lot, and I used to enjoy. I used to play with my friends. But when
Mm-hmm.
it comes, right now, sometimes it becomes difficult for me to go out due to rainy season, because if I have something important to do, I go out for eating food. So like what happened last time. So it was raining like heavily, so I was not able to go for my lunch. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I don't feel good about it, and it becomes terrible as well. If I'll talk about my city, so the system, like drainage system, is not so good. So if it rains heavily for 2 or 3 hours continuously, then it is going to be a big problem. You'll be able to see a lot of water on the streets, and there is a problem of waterlogging everywhere. So
Mm-hmm.
I, due to that, nowadays I don't really feel like it.
Okay. Okay. The problem of waterlogging is pretty common in India, I guess. Even you are from Kanpur, but then I am from a metropolitan city. I'm from Delhi. And even here, when it rains heavily, I can see logging everywhere. Like every second street is going to be filled with water, and people are not able to travel. But then we have to work and we go struggling in that similar, drainage water all around, and we have to go through that water only. So it's very common there. So because of that, I do not like rainy season at all. And even when I was a kid, I never used to like rainy season because I have that feeling of getting feeling clumsy when it gets wet all over. I do not like wet things. So do you have any such feelings at that form?
No, but when I was a child, of course, I had no problem with the rain. As I told you, that I used to enjoy playing cricket, even though when it was rainy season. So
Mm-hmm.
at that point of time, I had no problem. But now I feel it's problematic due to reasons I told you. And sometimes what happened, like if there is a water logging on a street and you are passing by and you are going there. So if somebody is passing by the the car, or just the motorbike, if they will go on a speed, you will get the water on your face or on your body, on your just and pant and shirt. So I feel really terrible about it. And it happens
Mm-hmm.
even the last time when I had visited my relative, and
Mm-hmm.
I was just coming back with my uncle. So what happened, there was just car passing by, and he was in he was just driving in a speed. So we got a lot of water on just our body. So that's really terrible, but you can't say anything to them. Sometimes the people, they do these things intensely. That's not really
Yes.
good, because they don't care about others. And sometimes, of course, because water is there, so without intention also, if they don't want to do it, then also it happens sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Yes, it happened. It has happened with me as well. Quite a time now. I mean, like not a lot of time, but then yes, quite a time because that is where one or two instances I remember when I used to drive my own vehicle and I used to go on my moped. So I had that those instances as well, and I used to
and
reach my
that's really
workplace.
great problem if you're going for work, right? If you are
Yes.
just going out in the morning at 9 and 10, you want to go for your office or institution, wherever you want to go. So then if you will get that situation, it is very difficult.
Yes, and that is something which has happened with me. I was about to reach my place and I was about to start
Hmm.
my day. I was going for my work there, and that is where I
Hmm.
had that entire splash on my dress, and everything was like pretty destroyed there. And that is where I went, and then I cleaned everything. But then you know how it goes, and since I'm a person who feels a little clumsy when everything is wet, it was a terrible day for me.
Hmm.
It was something that went up really bad for me, and that is where my mood was also affected. Because I was a teacher, my students got a lot of scolding from me that day, and I wasn't into a good mood there. So this is something which happened with me as well. Okay, So, what is that favorite sport that you like to play when it's raining, apart from cricket? Generally, people don't play cricket when it's raining because the ball and everything it doesn't get that bouncy when it's raining. People play football, if I'm not wrong, Ashutosh. But what do you like to
Yes,
do
of
when it's
course they
raining?
do.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to me, I'm not a football lover. I told you that I used to play cricket, but sometimes, of course, I would love to play badminton as well if it's raining. But most of the time, we just play badminton in the winters. I feel people they don't play badminton in rainy season or summer. They like in that in winter. So I
Yeah.
would love to go for other games also. Just yeah, we can enjoy many things, and it depends
Mm-hmm.
on a person like what they like doing it. But I told you now I don't want to go out when it rains. Of course I want to sit. But in when I was in hostel, sometimes we used to play. And
Mm-hmm.
cricket was only the thing which I used to enjoy a lot. Of course, people enjoy sometimes basketball as well. I used to go on
Mm-hmm.
basketball court and
Yes.
but yeah, it's a problem because it's raining. And sometimes friends of mine they used to play volleyball as well because if it is a Sunday and they will play even though if it's raining. So
Mm-hmm.
that is the thing. But I was into cricket. Otherwise, I was not enjoying a lot of sports, I must say. So that's what I
Mm-hmm.
can say.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And is there any childhood memory that you have it in your mind if it comes to rain? Anything that you have done in your childhood and which recalls you something you can cherish about it? Is there anything of that sort that you would like to share?
Yes, when it comes to the childhood, we used to play like games like hide and seek. Sometimes we
Mm-hmm,
used to touch each other. We used to run. So there were several games like which are not popular in cities or now people they don't play it. But in villages, as I was in village, so we used to play very common games. We used to touch each
mm-hmm,
other and sometimes gulli danda and sometimes like many things are there to play. So,
mm-hmm,
but what I remember like in childhood, only like I used to play a lot and sometimes I used to go out also sometimes for like if I talk about May and June, so sometimes it used to rain in June or July, so sometimes I used to go out to take raw mangoes, so and like
mm-hmm.
that.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even I
and
have done
and
that.
sometimes when it rains you will get tasty just blackberry. So I used to go because it is really important for the blackberry. Once it rains, after that if you will go and get it say blackberry, those will be really tasty because without
Mm-hmm,
water you will not be able to get that much taste in it. So after when it rains you will get those tasty that what is called
mm-hmm,
blackberry. so
mm-hmm.
I used to
Seems
go
like
sometimes for this.
seems like you have a
Mhm.
lot of experience of the remote areas, the village part. Seems like that.
Exactly, of course, because I was born and raised there. So,
Okay.
but
Okay. So,
nowadays I'm living in the city.
so what do you think? Which life is much better? The one that you've had lived before, or the one that you're leading at present?
No doubt, of course, the life of village is really wonderful. But unfortunately, when once you grow older, you can't stay there without working. You have to do things according to your profession. If you are there and if you're happy being a farmer, so then it's fine. Of course, you can continue your life. But if you would
Mm-hmm.
like to move for other professions like teaching, training, or just corporate work, so you have to go to those cities where there employment is available for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm, of course, like nowadays also I go back to my hometown and I enjoy that. But the thing is that nowadays things are totally different because everybody is busy. Even my friends, they are busy in their own life, own profession. So they only visit in festivals. So we enjoy talking about those things. But now, of course, it is very difficult to go back and do those things because friends, they are not available to talk together. So how can we think
Yes.
about going to the farming land or nowadays we only think about playing cricket. We are not able to play. So that is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoy being in village, and that is wonderful. Green, good environment, peace and calm. So things are there. In city, a lot of rush. Always you have something in your mind that is work, work, work from day to night. But there you will feel when I go back to my home, I feel, oh my God, like it's really peaceful, something different
Mm-hmm.
from the city environment. And it's really
Yes.
wonderful being there.
When I talk
But
about city, it's
like
pretty chaotic.
24/7 and always you can't stay there because if you are
Mm-hmm.
not able to if you're not able to work from there, then it's not good to be there because progress
Yes.
matters a lot in your life, and without money I don't really think so that you can survive.
And but then thanks to COVID for this matter, that everybody is having an opportunity to sit back comfortably at their place and work. So that is where even people who are into the remotest area of India, they're able to earn their livelihood and they're able to work with the help of this online system. What do you need to say about that, Ashutosh?
Yeah, that's really wonderful. Of course, even though I was a studious guy, I have now never thought about this kind of online things, but I'm into YouTube now. So now I don't have to go anywhere and I can work. I don't have to manage with office and office politics and things like that. Like it is very difficult to manage with the people, but now we can sit and we can do whatever we want. So it was wonderful. I was outside, I have been outside from 2012. So but fortunately, due to COVID 19, after 7 or 8 years, I got the chance to live with my parents for more than a year due to COVID because I
Right.
was back due to COVID 19 in 2020 and I stayed there till 2021. I was out, again, I came back to the city in 2022. So it was a wonderful time. It was a great time for the people who wanted to work on their hobbies and passion. A lot of people were there who had utilized their time in a great way. Of course, even though
Yes.
I'll say I was one of them, I used to think about communication always, but I was not practicing. So, but when I got the time in COVID 19, I started working on it and I worked really hard. I started communicating with the people for 5 hours, 6 hours, and I used to enjoy that because most of the time people they were talking about the COVID, and that was frustrating. Situation was pathetic. Every day we were listening that in Mumbai 40,000 cases are coming, or that in Delhi this or that relatives of your died, or some close ones of your died. So that was really pathetic. So I started focusing on communication. So it was a wonderful time for me, and I
Yes.
was not aware of such kind of professions now people they are in, and they can sit
Mm-hmm.
at their home, they can work comfortably. So it's a wonderful, I must say. But it is wonderful for them, and it was wonderful for them who had utilized their time in a great way or a great skill. So otherwise, a lot of people they had wasted their time sitting at their home, and they are
a lot
regretting
a lot
and
of
whole
people were
life.
not, yeah,
Mhm.
a lot many people were not fortunate enough to enjoy that period as well, Ashutosh.
Yeah,
We are the lucky
yeah,
ones, I would say. We were fortunate enough to explore our hobbies, to live with our parents, have some very good family
hmm,
time all together after a lot of time. But then there were many who were unfortunate for this. There were many who were
exactly.
struggling even to have meet their two meals a day. There were many who had a lot of people losing from their own family. I've had an instance. I One of my very close friend, she lost the entire family there. Four people, they were not alive after a certain point of time. Like
Mhm.
they died in a span of 10 days, and then 15 days, and then 20 days. So there were a lot of people who were really unfortunate there, and I wish and I hope that we don't see this altogether ever again. It was very, a lot of people have a very jolly feeling for that COVID lockdown period, but then if I talk about most of the people, they were not fortunate enough to enjoy that period.
Exactly. Of course, it was pathetic, as I already said. It was terrible. So, but I'm talking about the students who had time to work on themselves. Okay. So,
Mm-hmm.
but some people were there who were just only sitting and waiting that when it will get over,
Yes.
then they will start. So now they're blaming that they haven't done anything, or due to the COVID, they are not able to work on their career. So they had wasted their time. But for the labor class, who were
Mm-hmm.
working in Mumbai, Delhi, Bengaluru, South India, or outside of the country, it was really terrible because they had a great responsibility of their family, and they
Mm-hmm.
were separated from their family. They were living outside, and family was living somewhere else. So it was really difficult, and that period, I must say that. And a lot of people they came back, and now they are afraid to go back to big cities because they feel
Mm-hmm.
like anything can be happen in the future. So it was a terrible time for the people who were responsible, or who were running their family. They were not able to sit, they because they were really frustrated that what to do and what not to do, because for them it was not an option. For us it was an
Mm-hmm.
option that we can sift online, and we had sifted online. I started taking classes online, and I started doing something whatever I was able to do. But for the
Mm-hmm.
laborers, like what they will do if they are not able to work offline. So they were not into that mode that they can work online. So it was difficult for the people who were totally dependent on that field work.
Mm-hmm. Right. I
But
totally
for
understand.
IT people, IT professionals, they were also able to manage it.
Yeah, they were able to manage and they were able to enjoy their part really well. Because I have lot many of them in my family, so I can say that. Okay, Ashutosh. So, would you mind that if I tell you something that you should work upon? Would you mind me giving you feedbacks here?
I wouldn't mind for sure. You should tell me so I can improve.
Yes, of course. There's one thing that I really wanted to work upon. I was about to tell you this yesterday as well, but then we just lost that connection there. I am seeing that you are speaking really well. You are organizing your conversation really well. That is a very good part. You use some good terminologies as well in your conversation, which is again a plus point when it comes to good communication, Ashutosh. Okay? But the point is that I can hear a lot of fillers in your conversation. There
Hmm.
are a lot of like, you know, I mean, and that is okay in your conversation. And all these fillers are on a repetitive mode. Okay.
Hmm.
So when you repeat these words in your conversation, it gives your audience an impact or an impression that maybe Ashutosh is not very comfortable in constructing his further sentence. So that
Hmm.
is where he's using these filler words to bridge the gap, right? So do you feel that you use them? Have you ever self assessed yourself in that aspect, Ashutosh?
Yeah, exactly. I feel so. Sometimes, like it's very common for me. I take fillers, and I got feedback from other tutors also that sometimes I use or like. These are the common words which I use sometimes. So yeah.
Hmm. And if I talk about it, it's not sometimes, it's most of the time that you use them.
Hmm.
Okay. On a
Exactly.
contrary, I would say. Because today, when I was having a conversation with you, we spoke for about 18 to 19 minutes, and that's a good time and a
Hmm.
stretch to have a conversation. So that is where I felt that when you are speaking slow, you can avoid your filler sounds. But then when you fasten up your pace a bit, that is where you end up using a lot of fillers in your conversation, Ashutosh. Okay, so
Okay.
generally this is very important thing. This falls under the non-verbal communication part, which is where you have to work on your paralinguistics. Okay, paralinguistic is where you have to avoid these filler sounds, because when you use
Hmm.
them, the other person might get an option, might get an impression that you are not very comfortable with your language or your content that you're about to deliver. So this is one part. And second part is that I find that there are certain words wherein when you pronounce them, there's a slight glitch. There's a slight
Hmm.
shy and sour factor which is affecting your pronunciation skills. Like if in case you can read out these words which I have recently dropped in your chat box there. Can you please open your chat box, Ashutosh?
Okay.
Can you just read them one by
Yes.
one?
Yeah, that is optional.
Okay, now that went off well. Next.
Shift.
Right. Yes. Next.
Environment.
Environment. Yes.
Should.
Yes. So now you're being precautious of speaking those words. Okay. And that is
Yeah.
something which I can see. That is pretty reflected when you are, speaking those words. But then when you're generally having a conversation, it sounded optional. Sift. In fact, you said sift and sifting all together in one sentence. So that was
Hmm.
pretty particular about that. You said environment and you said should. Okay. So
Uh-huh.
try to
Uh-huh.
be this precautious when you're having some generic conversation as well. Because
Hmm.
if you are not good in terms of pronunciation, that is somewhere down the line making you look a little uneasy with the language there. But then apart from this, I don't see a lot of problem in your grammar. There was one point wherein I felt that a little bit of grammar glitch was there, wherein you just wanted to denote something which is going to happen in future. So this is where you used the wrong terminologies there. I wasn't able to note that down, and I'm not remembering that at this point of time as well. But then there was a little glitch when you denoted the future tense. But then apart from that, I don't see a lot of problem there. The only thing which I really want you to work on is your pace. Try to slow that down and try to work on your voice modulations as well. Like when you're denoting something very important, you're good with that. You stretch your volume, those pitches and those volume is going very well. But then it sounds a little monotonous after a certain point of time, Ashutosh.
Hmm.
Okay? Like there's one pace, there's one pitch that you're carrying for yourself. So try to be a little more creative when you're speaking. Try to smile. Try to have those interactions in a little more variable manner wherein the person can be more indulged, because we're talking something very generic here, right?
Mhm.
So that is where those voice modulations can always add on to your confidence level, Ashutosh. Rest
Exactly.
apart from that, I do not see that there's a lot of problem when you are communicating and when you're having a conversation. You're pretty confident. Your body language reflects a lot of confidence when you're speaking. So congratulations for that. I think lockdown really went off well for you.
Yes, exactly. Thanks.
And prior to that, like, how was your communication? This time it's going really good. But then prior to lockdown, prior you were having a conversations with others, how was your conversation skills?
Before COVID-19, I was only thinking about speaking English. I have never tried. So, because when I was in 12th, in 2019, I have passed my 12th. So, I used to think I was into studies and I used to think that I will communicate. And I used to like people who used to speak in English, but I had never given a chance to myself to speak from a stage or from the class in English. I was good in Hindi. And as I was just, I'm born and raised in UP. So I was always proud of speaking Hindi. I used to
Mhm,
think, why should I speak English? Is there any compulsion? No, not at all. What I feel. So that's why. But after this COVID-19, when this thing was there in my mind that the people who are good in communication, their personality is really good. They are able to impress people. They are able to get good things in their career. So then I started working. So before COVID, there was nothing. After COVID, now totally into it, and I like it.
yes. It's always a cherry on top, of course, if you are talking about communication skills, if you have good. So that is where, again, I would really like to congratulate on that part, that you're speaking really well. Your work is going on really well there. Of course, I would love to visit your YouTube channel as well. I haven't been through it so far, but then I'll surely just go and have a look on that part as well, Ashutosh. Okay.
Yeah,
But
for
then
sure. Thank
I
you.
really want you to work on your pronunciation skills. A lot of time, like again, when you said compulsion, it is not compulsion, it is compulsion. Okay, so that
Compulsion.
sha and sa factor is prominently there, but then when you be precautious of it, you pronounce it
Yeah,
correctly.
I know. When the teacher asked me to just pronounce those words one by one, of course I'm able to do it because I'm keeping that thing in my mind that what is it is ash or sh. But when
Yes.
it comes to the flow, I'm not able to because this is the like a strong MTI as well. I
Mm-hmm.
have seen this problem in a lot of people from who are from UP or North India. They make the
Mm-hmm.
same mistake of S and SH with the
Mm-hmm.
sound when they speak in flow. But
Mm-hmm.
when I speak them just one by one, I'm able to manage it because I
Not
keep that
only
in my mind.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Not only sha and sa factor, there's a lot of pa and pa factor as well. Fa and pa. So there are a lot of people who say pine, family, 15,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
that pa and fa factor is also there in people. So this is MTI effect, which a lot of people have. Okay, but then if you
yeah,
cautiously take care of this when you're speaking, it is going to go off really well, Ashutosh. Right? So all in all,
yes,
you're going
sure.
really good. But then I really want you to work a little more on the structuring part and a little more on the pronunciation and the pace part. Right?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. So is there anything else, Ashutosh, that you would want to say before we wrap the session up here?
Yeah, I want to know like what about you nowadays? How do you spend your day? Like whole day do you take sessions or
Yes,
do you do
my
something
my
else?
entire session, my entire day is engaged taking sessions here. I hardly get time for myself, Ashutosh, and that is where. And I love doing this. This is my passion. I've been doing this since last 7 years now. Okay, so that is where when I talk to people, I love to correct them. I love to guide them to a good communication path. So this is something which I really love doing it, and that is where I myself indulge a lot of time into this. So it's not something that I'm very busy with, but then this is something which I love doing for. So yes, I'm into taking sessions my
So are
entire
you
day.
totally based on online or just do you take offline sessions as well?
Like I mentioned, I hardly have time for myself, Ashutosh. So taking offline sessions was never an option for me. Okay, and again, like, thank you so much for this COVID. It got me even more brighter after this. So I'm totally virtual. I'm taking my sessions here. I'm online throughout the day, and I take my sessions online only. No offline sessions there.
Okay, that's great. And what about like before COVID? Was it the same?
Yes, it was the same, but then I used to go to take my own coaching centers there, wherein I used to give another 3 4 hours, but then it was in person. But after COVID, it went off really virtual, and things went off well for me in that virtual phase as well. So then, why should I go out of my comfort zone? Why should I move out for those 3 and 4 hours as well? So that is where I'm spending my entire time in front of the screen nowadays.
Okay, that's wonderful. Of course. But don't you feel like, it's better to do what is better for you, offline or online? As you say that you don't want to come out from your comfort zone, that's another thing. But most of the people, they say that they should come out from their comfort zone to get better. So do you feel like if you go and take session in person or offline basis, you get more experience or better experience?
I don't think so. I've been working, like I mentioned, in the past 7 years. So that involved both the
Hmm.
sessions. I used to go offline, I used to take online sessions. So I'm having experience of both. I'm not saying that I'm not comfortable going offline. But then now, if I
Hmm.
talk about myself, being a mother of one, that is where I need to give equal time in my family as well. And that is where my comfort zone is only taking virtual sessions nowadays. So
Yeah,
I
that's great. Of course, if you want to manage with your family, then it's a great option. To you can work from home and you can take care of your family as well. Going out, of course, you have to be there for 2 5 hours and a lot of traveling
yeah,
time. At least it
it
takes
takes a
like
lot of
30
time.
minutes to reach there. Hmm.
Metropolitan cities, it kills your time. Your traveling is going to be too stretched, and that is where, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of efforts, it kills your creativity as well. By the time you will reach your workplace, you'll be exhausted like anything. So
Hmm.
that is